How to make your life worthwhile. First, I want to tell you some story. After my 3 years studying in high school, I finally achieved my dream, getting into Seoul National University. I vividly remember the first day in college. I was sitting in a bus and I'm looking out the window and I saw this front gate and I felt so happy and I was so proud of myself and I was so excited about my upcoming campus life. But only after a month I became immediately depressed. I felt so much pressure doing my assignments and preparing my exams and also making new friends. I felt like I was living a worthless life every day. So I sometimes hang out and drunk with my friends, but that didn't make me happy. So I started thinking why I felt so depressed. And I eventually found out the problem. So I'm happy right now and I don't feel depressed anymore. So you may be wondering, how did I overcome the situation? So in this presentation, I'm going to tell you the 3 ways to make your life worthwhile. I hope you to learn from the presentation and make your own life richer and happier too. The first way is about achievements. We are taught from a very young age that achieving specific milestones of success, like getting good grades, getting into a great college, having a prestigious career, and having some amount of money saved, will make us happier. But actually, none of these things make us happy. For example, Seoul National University students, including you and me, we are the people who achieve the best. We are the people who have the best achievements. We entered into Seoul National University. But if you see this graph, you can know that almost half of these students are suffering from depression. Why are these students suffering from depression even though they have the best achievements in Korean among Korean students? That's because happiness is different from happy moments. Entering into Seoul National University is just a happy moment for us. Entering into Seoul National University is just a happy moment. And you felt very happy when you found out that you were accepted by Seoul National University. But that feeling that didn't last long. It just fades out. It just fades away. So I'm talking that if you achieve something, you feel happy, and that's a happy moment. But that feeling just fades away, and it can't lead to true happiness. And by the way, you may be thinking, if your life is full of happy moments, if your life is full of happy moments like this, if your life is full of achievements, then does it lead to true happiness? Like I'm saying, if you're happy and happy and happy all the time, is it happiness? But it's not. It's not happiness. It's a false definition of happiness. So you may be wondering what happiness is. As I said before, happiness is not pleasure, and it is also not an event. Happiness It's an ongoing state of mind and a way of focusing on the larger picture. It may sound hard. So, to say again, happiness is about defining your values and purpose. So, those happy moments do not make happiness. It's because happiness is about defining your own inner values. So what should we try to do to get your true happiness? You don't need more happy moments or achievements. Rather, you should have a positive outlook on all moments. You should have a feeling that those moments make up your life that is worthwhile. And you should also make a conscious decision to pursue happiness. You should stop for a moment and think about what you're doing right now. It's actually in the context of your inner values and purposes. Let me move on to the next point. The second way is about memories. This is a book by Chip Heath and Dan Heck. It's The Power of Moments. They introduced the power of moments. So I'm going to introduce you briefly to the main points. We all have defining moments and meaningful memories in our life that stand out in our memory. And those defining moments shape our lives. Like, if you guys are entering into Seoul National University may be a defining moment for you. And those defining moments shape our lives. But we don't have to wait for them to happen. We can just create them. We can create those defining moments. But how? How do we create those extraordinary moments and extraordinary defining moments? First, you should create moments of elevation. Moments of elevation is something you do when you break the routine. It means you should do something new. And these are the specific 3 ways to do it, and I'm not gonna tell it specifically. And it's boost sensory appeal. You should raise the stakes, and you should break the script. Let me give you one example of breaking the script. The flight safety announcement is a everyday process. When you get on the plane, you always hear the safety announcement before you fly. But these Southwest Airlines just broke the script and made it hilarious. Like he said, one of their speechmen was, "There might be 50 ways to live your lover, but there are only 6 ways to live this Boeing 737. So they made it kind of hilarious, so everybody could remember it better. And eventually, that only saying like that led to $69 million value every year to the airlines. It's an equivalent of buying a new Boeing 737 every year. So I mean, if you break the script, you can memorize it better, and it will be in your memory forever. Let me go back, and I was talking about how to create moments, how to create defining moments. And the second is create shared meaning. For groups, creating shared meaning, it means you should have a mission that everybody could bind together everybody could help each other and do some task. And if the task is really demanding, everybody will struggle to do it together, and they will remember it for the rest of their lives. And let me move on to the next point, the last point, perfection. Thomas Kern is a psychologist. He studied about perfectionism for many years. And he found out that from 1989 to 2016, here's the perfectionism here. So perfectionism went up almost 33%, right? Perfectionism, can I know the remaining times?
Yeah, you're on 11 minutes, so you've got 2 minutes.
So perfectionism rose up high. That's because people became individualistic, people became socially antagonistic. And those perfectionists who have a kind of baggage that other people don't. They always try to appear perfect. They always try to make themselves perfect, to appear perfect. But that kind of appearing perfect leads to depression and also suicide, and he surveyed all of this, and you can see here if your perfectionism goes up and also your depression level goes up. So if you want to make your life worthwhile, you should not try to be always perfect. You should you can make some mistakes, and don't be obsessed by those mistakes. Yeah. So these are the takeaways of this presentation. Let me sum up again. Achievements and memories and perfection. Achievements, don't try to make achievements. Just stay in your inner values and inner happiness. You should find your inner values and memories. You should try to make meaningful memories of your own. You should create them in perfection. You should not always try to be perfect. Yeah, and that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.
So you used good research for part 2 and 3, but your first part, you didn't mention any research, and I'm a little bit skeptical about, you said have a positive outlook. But I think that there's quite a lot of evidence nowadays that all this positive thinking stuff is quite bad for you. Have you encountered any of that literature? There's a book called Bright-Sided, which shows how positive thinking means that we don't save for the future, for example, right? So in America, there's this kind of way of thinking, be positive, be positive. So people are really positive, and then they don't save money for retirement, and they don't have enough money when they're old. You know what I mean? When we're positive all the time, we forget to check. It's like having a fixed mindset. It's like being a perfectionist. We don't look at what's wrong. We don't look at the errors that we need to fix because we're being positive all the time. So I thought the second bits were good advice, but the first bit's where did you get that be positive thing? Is it from recent psychological data? Do you really believe it?
No, it didn't have some data, but that was kind of what I like experienced myself, and it kind of. And I searched the internet, and there was not kind of a survey about like that, but or data about it.
I think you can be more precise, right? Probably what you did about being positive is reframing things, right? So if your teacher says, okay, your presentation didn't have this, it didn't have that, you could look at it as like, oh, I hate my teacher, he's so horrible. Or you could look at it as like, he's trying to teach me something. You know, so like, it's not like be positive. Being positive is like, I'm perfect, my teacher's an asshole. It's like, actually, my teacher is pointing out the things that I didn't understand, that I didn't get. And if I take a positive reframe, I can see that I just got some really good feedback that I can learn from in the future, right? So like, I think if you can reframe in a positive way, that can lead to a stronger future. But sometimes being positive actually means being stuck in a perfectionistic mindset, right? No, I'm perfect. I'm the smart one. You're the one that's wrong. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's a bit more complex than like you suggested in that first slide. Being positive, I think it can be a bit risky. It's like blindsiding yourself a little bit. Any other comments or questions? Do you have any idea how many, like, you got data about how many students are depressed? I feel like that's another problem. Like, people have the goal to get into SNU, but once they're in SNU, I think the happy ones are the ones who have the goal to learn, and the unhappy ones are the ones whose goal was to get into SNU but not to learn. You know what I mean? So like, I think that some people get into SNU because that's their goal, but the goal isn't to have a great learning experience. Like, that goal never comes to them. The goal is graduate, get a job. Getting into SNU was the big task. And actually learning from the great professors here is not really something they worry too much about. So, I don't know what kind of breakdown it is, but like, you've thought about this. Do you think there's a correlation between not having a reason for being here and being depressed when you're here? Or do you think it's some other reason? Because pretty much it's like 50% of students in SNU are depressed, right?
Yes.
So why are 50% of the students depressed? Because like in my courses, I try to do something about that by giving people a growth mindset, by motivating them to be in the course. Sometimes it fails. Like, if I have the 50% of the students in the class who maybe don't have a reason to be here, then the more of those kind of students there are, the less effective like what I do is. Like, I'm just wondering why that is, or why do you think that is?
Like, I was kind of thinking that 80% of the students who were depressed, they just achieved, like, they studied hard, and they achieved their goal, get into the university, but like, that's all they have. It's just like one happy moment, and they get stressed by the curriculum or whatever, and another 50%, like I just wanted to say another 50% may know how to be happy, or how to be worthwhile, how to make their life worthwhile, and know that they're focusing on their inner values really that happens. So I wanted to say that.
In that data, like who's depressed and who isn't, Was there any other data? Like, if they said they're not depressed, for example, did they say that they had hobbies, or did they say they had a growth mindset, or did they say they had goals for being in every class they took? Like, was there anything else that went with the happiness? Was there any other data collected?
There was not anywhere, but among those 50% depressed, like 38% of them were being depressed because of their mental problems, like mentally depressed, and others were like depressed because of the relationships. So the big one was about mentally problems.
Which is probably connected to the fact that they don't have any goals in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?